Welcome back to the final live stream for Zombicide Dead Men Tales. We have got a ton to talk about today. I know I've said that in every other live stream, but we really do have a lot of things to talk about today. We've revealed a lot over the last week since the last live stream. You've seen even more ghosts. You've seen some of the historic pirates that you've all been asking for. I think we've discovered a new fan favorite in Swabomination. So we will be talking about all of that. Plus, we revealed the Cursed and Drowned expansion last Friday. We'll have more details on that. I'm going to have Tiago and Rebecca out here to help with all of this. Not to mention, we're going to be talking about the all-in pledges, which I know a lot of you in the comments have been talking about. And finally, one significant reveal here today with a little bit more content. That's all the tease you'll get for now. But like I said, Tiago and Rebecca, come on out. Let's talk about all of this because we've got a lot to get through.
Huzzah! We're nearing the end. And we're still alive.
We are still alive. And like I said, we've got a lot to cover today. Tiago, Rebecca, without giving too many spoilers for the stuff we haven't revealed yet, what are you most excited about talking about today?
I think there is a new add-on coming that will make many people happy. Some awesome stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, and Rebecca?
I have so much stuff on my table here that I am ready to show during this stream. I think I'm just excited to start taking them out.
Yeah, just so you know, in prepping for the live stream, we were actually having Rebecca do some dexterity challenges in preparation for showing some of the stuff that we have to show today. I also want to point out, Tiago mentioned a lot of you have been clamoring for a lot of different things. You'll get some of the things that some of you have been excited about. Hopefully, we've bent over backwards. I can speak on behalf of the team. It is amazing to watch. I don't do as much of this. I just handle the marketing and communicate things. But all of the work that Tiago and Rebecca in particular, and all of the team.
And the whole team, the developers, the graphics team, this weekend was very busy because I don't think people realize how much work goes on behind the scenes. We plan for months and months on end, and then the campaign hits, and best laid plans of us and men and whatever. But very quickly we're scrambling. We're trying to meet what people are asking and trying to see, talking to devs, talking to everybody. Can we make this work? Does this make sense? Are they right? Do we miss something here that we can still explore? And then, okay, graphics, can you come up with something? Can you do this? Can we do that? Talk to the directors. Can we afford to add this thing here, this thing there? So there's a lot of conversations that happen, a lot of our works that happen. But it's funny how much I enjoy it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. It makes me feel alive too. Here's a crazy idea. I thought about this. You also think that makes sense? Let's make it happen. Sure. Yeah. Let's put this together, and this should be fun. I think Tiago, that's one of the fun aspects of a crowdfunding campaign for sure.
I don't know if you know what you just did, but you basically just encouraged everybody out there in the community to keep coming up with crazy ideas to keep you busy because you said you love it.
Yeah, we love it. Of course, there's a lot of stuff we can't do, we don't want to do, doesn't make sense to do. Some crazy ideas are just crazy. But sometimes people are right. Sometimes we kind of missed something along the way, and sometimes it's just a chance to do something cool. And if we can do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, it is a big juggling act, just so you all know, trying to adjust things and add things and sort of cover all of our bases. Of course, with any campaign, ideas are going to come up that may or may not be possible. But again, firsthand, I can tell you, everyone is moving as quickly as possible behind the scenes here to try to make so many different things happening. And we'll be talking about some of those in today's stream. The first thing we're going to talk about is what's happened since the last stream. We've had a lot of things to unlock, one of which were some historic pirates. A lot of you throughout the entire campaign have been saying, where are the historic pirates, up to and including Blackbeard? Let's take a look at some of those and talk about them in a little bit more detail. We had Anne Bonny and Henry Morgan here. Rebecca, can you tell us anything about like your favorite historic pirates that we've brought to the campaign? But how many have we brought to the campaign, by the way, thus far?
We bring one every other day, so I think there are
we
a few left.
We just revealed the 10th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have some pretty amazing skills. I don't know how many of you out there have dug into these as much as I have. Of course, I do have some access to some documentation on some of these things that you may or may not have. But like I said before, dig in. You'll probably be surprised at what you can find out on the campaign page. But the one you were looking for most of all was Blackbeard. Let's take a look at Blackbeard. There he is with skill shot. Harpooner. Did anyone, Rebecca, I asked you before stream, did you happen to look up what's Harpooner? I'm not familiar with that skill.
So Harpooner, you can target zombies in sea zones with your ranged attacks and magic attacks.
Do you happen to know how many other pirates have had that ability?
I think it happens more in the expansion.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where you'll find the pirates with Harpooner, because like that one's all about shipwrecks. So there'll be a lot of shooting into sea zones there.
And I want to point out too, even though these are historic pirates, I'm looking at the miniature there, and it does look like he's holding a gun axe, which I'm guessing was not historically accurate.
I don't know. It may have existed. I'm not knowing if Blackbeard wielded it, but yeah, of course, this is our take on those historic pirates, and yeah, it's been great fun to do the castaway reveals. You know, going from place to place, finding the messages in a bottle, and people speculating about who those pirates could be. Yeah, just some extra layer of interactivity and fun, and something to look forward to every day. We still have one more bottle to uncover and another pirate to find. And if people saw the review that I think hopefully just went up, I didn't even see because Guile is the one running the ship right now. So we revealed something that kind of goes a bit away from the historical exactly pirates, because the idea is you have these interdimensional castaways coming into Zombicide. So we've just unlocked Captain Flint, which is a very famous pirate, but maybe not exactly historical. But I think it's very exciting to have that kind of character in the game as well.
Tiago, I just want to say you tease better than anybody else in terms of like sharing information.
It's what I do.
And that's high praise, by the way, from me. The next thing we had, and I have to say, when we had the Grom dice, I thought those are amazing until I saw the skull dice. The skull dice are insane. And Rebecca, do you have a prototype skull dice in front of you?
Yes, I do. I have some samples here.
Yeah, check these out. You can't see them perfectly. And by the way, just so you know, those are prototypes. They're not fully colored and everything like that. Yeah. But that gives you a sense of the size and the shape and how these things are built.
Yeah, they're like normal D6s, they just happen to be skulls.
Yeah, they're honestly, I think they're probably the coolest custom dice that I've seen for many of the Zombicide games, but maybe games in general. They're really, really cool. Rebecca had been rolling them before we started the stream to try to see if we could demonstrate some things. We are going to be demonstrating some other dice. You want to show the prototypes that you have for the Grom dice?
I also have the Grom dice here.
And talk a little bit about the evolution of these things, because I think it's kind of fascinating, and it speaks to how we continue to try to like tweak these things.
Right. So at first we had just a bottle shape. The bottom was flat, but you can see now we made it a little bit so it slants a little bit, so it never falls flat when you roll it. And you can also do a little spin. Like people were asking whether you could spin it. So we have you can if you're careful enough.
That's
nice.
Cool. And one thing I saw a backer suggested, which never occurred to me, and I think it's really a cool idea. You know, if you want to get a few sets of these, because you could actually use the Grom bottle dice as the Grom tokens. So if you get like 3 sets of them, basically each survivor only needs in general up to 3 tokens. So you could assign the dice as the tokens and just roll the tokens you have. And when you like lose a token, you just lose the die. Like it all kind of makes sense. So I think that's a cool alternative way to handle the Grom tokens.
Yeah, that is really cool. By the way, if any of you out there end up playing this game with me, I will be the guy who annoyingly spins each and every Grom die that I roll, like every single time, until someone slaps me. But yeah, so the skull dice, I have to say, let us know in the comments which are the coolest die. We're gonna pit the Grom dice versus the skull dice. Let us know by the end of the stream.
And don't neglect the black and gold dice. They are cool as well. They don't have a fancy shape, but they look very, very stylish.
That's all true. We have room for all the dice that we have here on the campaign. The next thing we wanted to talk about were all of the plastic tokens. And we're going to dig in here because this is one of those instances where we got some feedback. But before we get into that, just awesome. Like these are things that I've always wanted for all of these types of games. If there's a treasure chest in a game, I want a treasure chest. And we've got them here, not to mention the coffins and all of the other plastic pieces. To feel these things is really nice when you pick these things up and you see the texture on the board. Rebecca and Tiago, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the feedback we've gotten and some of the things we're trying to put in motion?
Yeah, so we received some feedback about having these tokens on top of the punchboard tokens on the board. And ultimately, we decided to go with stickers on the bottom of these tokens. So we're adding a sticker sheet for each of into every token pack. So everyone can decide whether they want to use the token or they want to sticker the bottom of their coffins and chests.
Yeah, I think that's a great solution.
And also, I just want to go back to, I think that for me, the coolest thing about this pack is for sure, I think the inception of we need to do plastic tokens because we have cannons and there's no way we're not going to play with cannons. So Rebecca, talk a little bit about the development of that. Yeah, that cool piece.
Yeah, that is
so
awesome.
I have the cannon token here. So initially it was just an ordinary token, but we decided to add a little bit of like movement to it, and so that you can see when it's ready to fire, which is when it's straight, and when it's exhausted. So when you've already fired it, then you tilt it upwards slightly. And we had to do a bit of adjustment to this so that the angle was big enough to make a difference on the board. So it goes like that.
Yeah, I think it was interesting from day one when people saw the initial trailer for the game and it showed the cannon pop up out of the board and fire a cannonball. A number of people were like, oh, there's got to be a cannon in the plastic tokens pack. And this is before we'd even announced anything. I love the fact that the community knows us and knows these games so well.
Yeah. If we didn't do a cannon after showing that 3D cannon in the trailer, people would slaughter us. So
yeah,
it was always in the cards. And just going back to that change we did to this pack by adding the token sheet. Yeah, it speaks to what we were talking at the beginning about trying to answer requests. And actually, we've just like an hour ago posted an update with a number of requests that we've managed to fulfill and to answer. So I'd just like to make sure that everybody's aware of it if you haven't checked out that update. So besides adding the stickers to the plastic token pack, another thing that was often requested that we managed to make a reality is in terms of the scratch pay, which is where you can pay for your pledge in installments. Originally, we had 5 installments, but after talking to the directors and whatnot, what we could do, we managed to extend that to 8 installments. So hopefully, that helps people be able to, get all the things that they want to get out of this campaign. Then another request people had was in the fantasy compatibility pack, where we had the sleeves for your spawn deck, and people were asking, can we have a few more special zombie cards for my spawn deck? Because in the regular Deadman Tales deck, it's a smaller deck, so the 6 special zombie cards that come there is enough to make it work. But if you are playing with like one of the larger old decks, like in Green Horde and Black Plague, we realized you might want to have a few extras of the special zombie cards so that you're pulling more often from the special zombie deck. So we've added 6 more cards to the compatibility pack so that you can customize your deck however you want. Just give more options to players. Yeah, seemed like something we wanted to do, and we managed to do it. And then the final thing that was often requested is also in the compatibility pack, we have the sleeves for the spawn deck, which is a way to allow you to mix the new spawn card with the old spawn cards and just configure however you want. And because in general, you only need one of those set of sleeves, we included that in the compatibility pack. But people were asking, can I just buy some more extras so I can make a larger deck, so I can make keep extra decks, like one for Green Horde, one for Black Plague, without having to reuse the sleeves? So yeah, we are offering a new add-on in the form of 70 sleeves for your spawn cards. So yeah, just get whatever you want, whatever you need, and hope you have fun customizing your deck.
I will say that your requests, there are some limitations. I see someone in the comments who said, love the cannon design, but could they also fire little mini cannonballs?
Oh, that would be I see some issues there.
I think we don't even have to consult the Magic 8 Ball. I'm pretty sure that's a solid no.
Yeah, our lawyers wouldn't love that.
Yeah, there's choking hazards and all sorts of stuff that we need to avoid. But yeah, we've definitely heard a lot of the feedback and done what we can to sort of adjust things and, correct things in the campaign for you. So hopefully you all appreciate that. And one of the things that I see talked about, there's an image of some of the tokens in effect, and that actually shows them sitting on top of the tokens, the plastic pieces, which is not too bad. Not too bad. But I do like the sticker idea quite a bit. One thing I've already seen mentioned in the comments, and if you're in the comments on the campaign page, you've seen it a lot, is everyone embracing Swabomination as what feels to me potentially like the campaign mascot of.
Is it Swabomination or the Swabomination? Because everybody's talking about this guy. It's those things that happen that you can't foresee. People just latch on to something and they don't let go. He's a cool guy. I love the Swabomination. If you can zoom in there on Rebecca, she has the guy there. The
actual stuff. Yeah.
Can you compare him to a regular pirate there, just so people can get a grasp of this?
Regular zombie.
Yeah. He's
it's been
a big
amazing.
guy.
It's been amazing to see. I mean, we've had visuals. I've seen a lot of the digital files on these, but to see Rebecca pre-stream and during the stream here to show these things size comparison wise. Oh yeah, what's his name?
Well, that's the gore horn there, which is, I love the fact that he has a cannonball hole right through his chest. It's just such a cool twist to it.
That is amazing.
And by the way, I need to give a shout out to the artist who did those trolls, who did the Swabomination and the gore horn, and I think all the orcs, trolls, goblins, dwarves, and that's Stefano Moroni. Was an amazing Italian artist. I had the pleasure to meet him here in Lucca at Lucca Comics a few years back. Really cool guy. I worked with him on several projects. So I just want to give a shout out to all the flavor that he brings to this project with his amazing artwork. It's those things that extra character he puts in his characters that I think makes people kind of latch onto them and imagine all the universes and adventures and all the fun facts about Swabi and all that people say about him and his legends. Yeah, it's just a shame he is dead. He's a zombie. There's no two ways about that.
He is a zombie. Although a lot of people in the comments, Tiago, have been, dare I say, begging for Swabomination to maybe be something else. Do we have anything in the cards potentially?
I don't know. I can ask the Magic 8 Ball. Let's see what it says about something. Oh, let's see. It says here. It says most likely. That's what it rolled. Just to prove that I don't choose what the Magic 8 Ball says. It just says what it says, and make that what you will. I don't know.
He doesn't have a trick Magic 8 Ball, or maybe he does. Maybe he does. But either way. I think we should start embracing Swabomination as the fan community around this. In fact, now I want a shirt that says that. So
yeah, Again,
No
I
problem.
want to highlight what we said before. We are not always able to answer the requests of backers. We try. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. I'll just leave that there.
All right. So those are a lot of the things that we unlocked since the last campaign. But one of the things that we revealed last Friday was the Cursed and Drowned. This is a box that is really cool mechanically, and we wanted to dig into that a little bit more. I'm not sure how many of you have like really dug in on the campaign page to find out, but we wanted to talk a little bit about how these drowned walkers work and all of these cursed walkers and abominations and brutes work in this pack. Can we see the miniatures? There they are. I think that, yeah, that's all of them. So the cursed figures are the purple ones. Then we've got the abomination there in the center. What's the abomination's name, Rebecca?
It's the Slop Kraken.
Yeah. Which is
basically, yeah, he functions as the cursed abomination, but we thought of giving him a different name.
Yeah. And then, of course, the ones flanking him are the drowned walkers. The drowned walkers have an interesting mechanic in that they take, and for a walker, this is significant, they take 2 damage to eliminate. But if you do 1 damage, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca, they actually sort of crumble down into a pile of bones, in which case you would just basically tip them over. And then you can wound them again to remove them from the board in the event that you didn't do 2 damage to begin with. But I think that's an amazing mechanic. Feels very video game inspired.
Yeah, it's very cool to like just imagine like, oh yeah, you're knocking down these bony zombies into piles of bones on the board and then like stomping them and like getting rid of them once and for all. Because if you don't, they will spend their next activation to stand back up and continue as if they were never kicked down.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love a scenario. I'd like for a quest to have these guys come out right away when I play with them, just so that we can see that before anyone has any 2 damage weapons. And the cursed mechanic kind of applies to the rest of the box. So there's brutes, there's walkers, and there's the abomination. And the way the cursed mechanic works is whenever they attack, they're going to also curse you. Is that correct, Rebecca?
Yes, they also curse you whenever their hits land.
Yeah, so if you ever eliminate one, it's going to spread curse in its zone. And if it's the abomination, it's going to apply curses to everyone in its zone and survivors adjacent to the zone. So it kind of explodes a little bit bigger, I suppose.
Yeah, so you need to be careful when you are taking him down. Like, make sure you're out of range, or make sure you can have at least enough grom or actions to deal with the curse tokens that he's giving you.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the rifle in the base box. Is it Brown Bess? Is one of the pieces of equipment that I think has like 3 range. So that's one that would be helpful. And then the curse tokens, if you have at least 1 curse token, and you can have multiple, but as long as you have 1, at the beginning of the end phase, you're going to roll a die, and on a 1 through a 3, you're going to take a wound. So you can also get rid of the curse tokens, correct? Using an action? Yeah.
Yes, you can use an action or you can use Grom. So the scary thing is that you can have as many curse tokens as there are in the box. You can be super, super cursed, but at least the curse takes a bit of time to spread and take hold. So you only roll 1 die, but you need to spend like a lot of actions and drink a lot of Grom to get rid of your curse.
That's how I do it.
That sounds like an excuse to drink Grom, Tiago.
Well,
and just so you all know, this one was actually designed by Ken, who was with us on the last live stream. And there's a common theme that I see with all of our developers and the designers is that they just love making things more difficult. Like, I feel like that's like priority number 1 whenever they do a new piece of content is how can we make things harder for everybody?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a challenge. And also, I want to mention about the curse tokens, just highlighting that by backing this expansion in the campaign, you get plastic versions of those tokens, which are exclusive and won't be coming to retail. Yeah, so we have nice engraved full color plastic tokens for those.
All right, the time has come to talk about what we're here today to reveal.
Yeah, we're reaching the edge of the map. We are at the close to the end of the world, and you know what they say when you look at those maps and you are in uncharted waters.
What do they say, Rebecca? Here be monsters.
Monsters.
Yeah, so this is the expansion that we're revealing today. And as you can see by the front of the box, it has some of the most amazing monsters that I can imagine for this game. It's going to include a necromancer and a few different abominations. Anything you guys want to share before we actually dive into this? Because we are going to show you each and every one and tell you a little bit about how they work.
Okay, first off, shark for Sharky. We have to say that. You can see it there. Yeah, but this is a crazy abominations box. It has 4 really exciting and amazing miniatures and gameplay elements. I think that you have lots of cool mechanics, amazing theme, and really cool miniatures. And yeah, that artwork is nuts. Actually, that one is actually by Saeed Jalabi. So shout out for him with his twisted mind. Like some of the things he did there in terms of zombifying these creatures is kind of disturbing and cool and amazing. So yeah, I can't wait to explore each of these ones. Rebecca, what do you have to say?
Well, I was quite surprised by how some of them looked when they first arrived in office, and I can show you what I mean after this slide.
Yeah, we're being such teasers right now, but the last thing I wanted to say about this box art, we did have some eagle-eyed viewers who are like studying the thumbnail for today's live stream and pretty successfully theorizing what that zombie in the shark's mouth could be. But when I saw that art, and if you think the art's one thing, wait until you see the miniature. The miniature's representation of these things is fantastic. So we're going to take a look at the first one. The first one that you actually don't see here in the art much is the Tide Witch.
Which people have been asking for a mermaid for a long time. And yeah, we have our mermaid necromancer.
Oh yeah, and Rebecca has it right there.
I have it here next to a standard zombie. You can see she stands a little bit taller than the rest of the horde, so you can identify the necromancer out of the other zombies.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about the way this works is, and we won't go into too much detail, but I think a lot of you want to know, the Tide Witch doesn't move, nor can it be moved. Once it spawns on the board, when it activates, it's basically going to draw survivors towards it, as you can imagine thematically. And then ultimately, during the end phase, if you're within 2 spaces of it, it's going to wound you. So it's kind of like this really cool beacon that just pulls survivors in toward it.
Yeah, a siren, you could say.
Yeah.
You could say that. I think you just did say that.
One funny thing about this necromancer is that the more Grom you've drunk, the more dice you actually roll, which I find such a thematic thing for her. So the more dice you roll, the more likely you get a 1, and the more likely you are drawn towards the Tide Witch.
Yeah, that's really cool because it is a die roll to determine whether it's drawing you near it. And if you got some Grom on you, well, you have less willpower. Let's put it that way. The next one is Deadlight. By the way, the names on these things are awesome too. And we have to show this one, Rebecca, because this one, I'd seen these images. This is surprisingly larger.
Yeah, this is a devil of an anglerfish.
It does not look that big from the pictures because it's a bit skinny, but in real life, it is huge.
And Rebecca pointed out to us pre-stream that it is a she, right?
Yes, fun fact, it is a she because only the female anglerfishes look like this, and the male ones look more like this.
They don't
they're not like this. They have the antenna and the light. Yes.
Yeah, something I didn't know, by the way. So you came to learn about Dead Men Tales. You're leaving with a little bit of knowledge.
Yep. So tell us about the deadlight.
Yeah, deadlight is kind of interesting because at the end of the zombie phase, zombies in line of sight are moved toward it.
Yes.
And it can only be eliminated by if there's no zombies in the space. So it's basically going to like continue to draw zombies around it. And then even if you fire the cannon at it, the cannon with zombies in there, it's going to eliminate all the other zombies, but not it, because it has to be an empty space all by itself to be eliminated, which is super cool.
Yeah, I
so
just
it
love
kind
the
of
idea.
protects itself with the other zombies.
Yeah, I just love the idea of this big guy standing in the middle of a mob of kind of entranced zombies that just follow it around. And also, I want to see who will be the crazy player that's going to customize this to add a little wire and a LED light at the tip of that thing. I'm sure someone will do that, and it will be awesome.
There's Tiago again with another crazy idea to encourage everyone to ask us to do things.
Someone do this. I will not.
Someone else do this, not us, right, Tiago?
Yep.
So that is Deadlight. The next one is called Wretch Maw. And this is the one that we talked about for Sharky. And as you can see here with this image, not only is there a zombie inside its mouth, but they're pouring out of the side of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a disturbing thing. Like,
yeah, it is. When I heard there was going to be a shark of some kind, that was one thing. But when I saw this and saw the zombie in the mouth and coming out the side, it's amazing. And not to mention, very thematically on point with the way this thing works.
Yeah.
So
of course.
Wretchmaw has an actual action deck. Instead of activating like a normal thing would activate, it has a deck. So whenever it activates, you just take the card off the top of that deck and do what it says. And Rebecca, we don't have any of the visuals of the cards, but can you kind of explain like what one of the cards might do?
Yes, so the card is split into two sections. It depends, the action will change depending on whether the Wretchmaw is on a C zone or a non-C zone. So typically when it's on a C zone, it rushes towards the land and then it does something. So when it's on a non-C zone, it can do things like vomiting up the swallowed zombies onto the zone where it lands and then rushing back to the sea, or even like smashing into all the survivors and grounding them. It's really random, so you might not expect what's coming next.
Yeah, and what's wild is, as Rebecca just alluded to, as this moves around the board, and when it moves, by the way, it moves 2 spaces for every move action. But when it moves into a space with a zombie, it swallows that zombie. So it turns into this sort of like transport, if you will, of zombies. And when you
a piñata,
eliminate
you could say.
What's that?
Or a piñata, you could say.
That's actually a much better analogy, because when you eliminate it by any means other than a cannon, it will respawn somewhere, but will drop one of the zombies in its space. However, if you eliminate it with a cannon, it's removed from the board and all of the zombies that were inside of it get added to the space where it was, which is awesome. Like, that's just going to make for such a great moment in a game.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy fun stuff packed inside that little beast.
Literally. All right. Now for the one that you saw on the front of the box, and I'm just going to spoil it. The biggest of these is White Dread. There is White Dread. You can see an awesome miniature, not to mention some flood tokens. And we'll talk about more about how this works in a second. But Rebecca, why don't you show the size comparison here?
This is the White Dread.
Look at how big White Dread is.
Zoom in so we can see it.
Right. And a little guy next to him.
Yeah,
and don't worry, we're going to show you in a second some more imagery of these so you can get a better feel for what they look like. But yeah, that thing is amazing. And as you can imagine, mechanically works in a really interesting way, because when White Dread spawns, it's going to add flood tokens to its zones up to 2. So long story short, these flood tokens are going to be spread when it spawns, when it moves. So it's going to create C zones, if you will, out of the sort of normal street zones or building zones, but they kind of act as both. And when it floods one of those zones with like the ropes, or if it's a pirate or a governor's zone, you can't use them because they're temporarily underwater.
Mhm.
So, Rebecca,
Yeah,
can you speak to how the flood tokens work and how they come off the board too?
So when a zone is covered in water, it kind of covers the icons and graphics on the board. So it's considered as those things are disabled. You cannot use the rope and the pirate and the governor zones. At the end of the round, the water recedes a little, so you remove one of the flood tokens that was originally placed. And there can be up to 2 in the zone. So it takes 2 rounds before the water completely recedes, if the white dread doesn't somehow land there again.
Yeah, and by the way, one thing about those tokens, because this box is a crowdfunding exclusive box, so its tokens already come as plastic tokens from the get-go. So everybody's getting plastic versions of the flood tokens in the box itself, and also in terms of bling, like you can see that this miniature, the base will be like clear blue plastic to make the water look more watery. And yeah, I love how the sculpt has like one more intact side and one very zombified side with teeth showing up. Like it's really, really gruesome, I would say.
Yeah, and if you couldn't tell from Rebecca's demonstration, we have an image here too that's a size chart. So this will give you a sense of the various sizes of these things compared to a standard survivor, which is amazing.
And
Yeah,
it's funny, I don't even think that really does justice to how big some of these things are. Like Rebecca really gave us an idea of how hefty they are.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
they are pretty big.
Those are amazing. And you know what? They look even better when they're painted. So do we have an image of the painted figures of these?
Yeah.
Check these things out. Like, look at White Dread. And also, we don't have an image of it, but there is a side image of the shark too that has the zombies coming out. And you can kind of see the zombie on that one coming out of the front of the mouth. But these painted miniatures are just amazing. I would never be able to paint them that well personally, but it's possible, apparently.
It can be done.
All right. So if you thought that was big news, which it was, we were very excited to share that. The other thing that I think a lot of you are wanting to know about today are what we have in store for the all-in pledges. And I use plural because I think we have more all-in pledges than we typically have had in the past. And we're going to go through all of those right now. But I just wanted to stress for you, we were talking about this before we went live. We've really gone out of our way to try to come up with different variations to, suit different types of gamers. So I think across all these different all-in pledges, you'll have an option to get like, oh, that's perfect for me. Or no, this one's perfect for me because it has this.
Yeah, it's been quite a challenge because this campaign, it encompasses so many things, right? You have all the pirate game, you have the RPG, you have comics, you have different interests which kind of intertwine and combine. So it was a challenge coming up with the all-ins to try and cater to as many backers as possible so that everybody can get what they want for a nice discount, and just facilitate, make everything more convenient and at a nicer price by bundling things together. So in the end, what we landed on was 4 different all-in pledges, rewards, levels, whatever, to try to give you the options of what to pick.
And the first of those is called A Pirate's Life. So we can take a look at that. And just so you know, Rebecca, Tiago, how soon will these be up on the campaign page? Very soon, right?
Well, they should be up once the live stream ends. It's Guile is going to do it. He's going to do it very well. I trust his competency. But there's some delay. Like it's tricky to get all these things up in the system. So be patient with him. But yeah, it will all come out very soon after we're done here. So
there'll also be a post that describes what's in each pledge. Yeah, what's in each reward. So you can look back at the update to get more information.
Yeah, because as you can imagine, it gets quite complex to kind of arrange all these things. So we try to make something that makes the most sense and people can understand. So the first one is A Pirate's Life. So if A Pirate's Life for you, your interest is only like, I want the Fantasy Zombicide, Deadman Tales, pirate-specific content, with that theme, those gameplay units. So that is the pledge for you. So this has only like the core box, all the stretch goals, rewards, and dailies and whatnot, and all the expansions that are specifically for Deadman Tales. So yeah, Shipwreck Bay, the new Here Be Monsters, Curse and Drown, the Goblins, and the Orcs, and of course with the bonus tokens from Curse and Drown. So if you added all these together, it comes to $315. But we're giving everybody a $15 discount, bringing it down to a nice round $300 for this base pledge. If Pirates is all you care about and Zombicide board game is what you're here for.
Yeah, we've got many different flavors, and the next level up is called All Aboard, and this is sort of the next step. It includes everything that we just discussed, plus what?
Yeah, so All Aboard is everything for the board game, for the Fantasy Zombicide board game, going beyond just the pirate-specific things. So basically, each pledge has everything that the previous pledge had, just so we're clear here. So this one, it has all the Deadman Tales gameplay content, expansions and whatnot, and it adds the comics, which is the Black Plague Volume 2 and the 2 Company of the Gallows with their extras boxes. One thing that's important to highlight is none of the all-in pledges have the Black Plague Comics Volume 1. That's because many people already have that comic from the previous campaign, so we didn't want to kind of force people to buy something that they already have again. So if you don't have the Black Plague Volume 1 comics and you want it, make sure to add it as an add-on to your reward. I think I was clear, right? And
yes.
Yeah, and the other thing that this has, besides the comics, is the Plague Bearer character set, which brings all the characters, survivors of abominations, necromancers, from the Plague Bearer RPG into Fantasy Zombicide board game. So basically, here you have all the gameplay things for Fantasy Zombicide, whether they're Tales or you're using it on Black Plague, Green Horde, White Death, all of that. And again, putting it all together, it comes up to $440. But here we managed to give you a $25 discount, bringing it down to $415.
All right, we're halfway through the all-in pledges. The next one is called Call to Adventure. And again, this, of course, includes everything we just talked about, but adds the Plague Bearer RPG, right?
Yeah, this one, I think it's a bit more straightforward to say, like you basically spelled it out. Yeah, it's everything that you've seen before, all the gameplay for the board game, and adding on top of it the Plague Bearer RPG, which comes with all the exclusive, the sleeve, the maps, the character sheets, the cards, and the digital version of it as well. So if you want to experience like all the gameplay that we're bringing in this campaign, this is the pledge for you. It has everything for you to play with, all the expansions, everything, comics, the Plague Bearer character set, and all the pirate stuff. And yeah, this comes up to $500, but we're giving a $40 discount here, bringing it on to $460.
And before we show the last one, I just want to comment. So many people in the comments sort of guessing at the different prices and then things like that. I think everyone will be excited. Like we said earlier, all of these options, hopefully we've got one of these options to cover just about everyone out there. But yeah, please let us know in the comments what you think. The last one is called, of course, Legendary Treasure. And this is the most all-in of all-ins.
Yeah, this is basically everything that we could think to include that doesn't go into the like very specific needs that specific backers will have. So again, this has everything that we mentioned before, all the Pirates gameplay, the comics, the RPG, Plague Bearer character set, and we added to it all the bling to make your game pop, which we mentioned earlier. Yeah, the plastic token pack, the Grom bottle dice, the skull dice, and the black and gold dice. So you have everything that you would want to play the game. And with this very, very big hoard of treasures, we were able to give a very, very big discount. So while the value of this goes up to $563, as a $63 discount, making it a nice round 500 for everything there. And again, highlighting that there are still add-ons that aren't here because they are very specific. Like if you need the compatibility pack, the sleeves, however many sleeves you want, extra tiles, extra players, extra ghosts. Like these are very specific things that I think each player needs to decide and see what they want to add to their game. So we didn't add them on the pledges. We explained this as well as we can on the update that I think hopefully will be coming out soon, or already came out, I don't know. I think after the live stream. So trying to highlight what is not included and what is included. And yeah, trying to give you as much of a discount as we can by making these big bundles and yeah, giving all the options that people might want.
Yeah, the way we run these, as we've been saying on this live stream, we try to remain as flexible as possible and offer as many different little things, particularly when you're asking for things and we sort of adjust plans. With all that said, it is very challenging to include all of that because we don't want to. I mean, first and foremost, we don't want people to have to buy something that they already once bought before, like the
Volume 1 comics.
Yeah. So hopefully amongst all 4 of these different options for the all-in, you'll find something in there that is exactly what you're looking for. And like we said, if it's not quite exactly and you want a few more dice, you can always add on whatever you want to add on as well. So with that all out of the way, and I'm sure a lot of you have had questions, a lot of you have had comments, Helena is going to join us now to answer as many of those as we possibly can. Helena, what do you have?
Hello! Our final live stream for the campaign, huh? We enter 48 hours left territory tonight.
Oh, yeah, soon. Yeah.
Very soon.
Okay, I picked up a couple of questions I saw on GameFound and I saw on the comment section here. So first off, if you get the digital RPG pledge level, can you add physical add-ons to it?
Yes, you can add whatever physical add-ons you want.
Okay. Because if you choose only the digital RPG, then there is no.
Yeah, we just send you a link. Download. You have access to digital RPG, and that's it.
That was a short one. Okay.
Well,
so continuing on. Will there be equipment like the Molotov cocktail or Dragon Bile to kill abominations?
So there are means of killing abominations in the equipment deck. I have one right here.
Yeah.
Stuff like the Spectral Cannonball, which is epic equipment. It deals 3 damage, but you need to pick it up first somehow. And it also has a little talisman effect at the bottom.
Yeah, the Spectral, that cannonball has been fantastic in the games that I've played with the prototype. That's the one everyone wants right away because 3 damage is one thing. But using it as the talisman is actually pretty good because it makes everything, I think, 2 damage.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yes, so to answer the question, yes, there are equipment that does that.
Means to eliminate those pesky things.
But most of the heavy lifting is done by the cannon, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, I love, I think, a house rule that someone suggested about the Gorehorn because it has a hole in his chest, like saying like you have to roll a die. If you roll a 1, your cannonball goes straight through him and doesn't affect him at all. Like
I love that.
I highly suggest that house rule. I don't know if it works, if it breaks anything, but it just sounds fun. I don't know.
Okay, a few of our designers are watching this. I saw Ken. I saw a few guys pick up on this. Gets to testing.
I don't know if it works, but it looks fun.
So, a question about Here Be Monsters. I'm surprised that apparently you guys were very clear because I picked up a few questions about Here Be Monsters.
You're surprised we were clear? What does that mean?
Like, I'm surprised there weren't as many questions as I expected. But there is one that I picked up. Will the shark Retchmaw, will the shark eat abominations and brutes, or just walkers?
No abominations or necromancers, but I think everything else is on the
The
table.
menu.
The menu.
The menu. Thank you.
Actually,
Okay.
I want to do a shout out to Kelly, our game designer for this box. Here be monsters.
Yes.
Because I think she came up with a bunch of really cool abominations and the necromancer. So I hope you all have
Yeah,
fun
if you
with
don't
it.
remember,
and
Kelly-
yeah, good job
Kelly
to
was
her.
the designer of the Reef Reavers as well.
Mhm.
Okay. So you just announced the all-in, the all-ins. So that means we've revealed most everything at this point. But,
Oh,
for the,
no, go.
but should we expect any surprises in the next few days?
Well, if you expect a surprise, it's not a surprise. But I think the point is we still have quite a few things at the bottom of our treasure chest to reveal. Yeah, there will be some curveballs, I think, coming. Some of your requests might still be answered. Some of them surely will not, because there are many requests. We will not get to all of them. But yeah, I think some of the things I've been seeing the most, we will still address. There are cool things coming. Yeah, there are enemies, there are pirates, there are survivors. There's a bunch of things coming. And like we said, the things that we can maybe address that people have been requesting, we've been working double time to make some things happen behind the scenes. So I'm really excited about some of the stuff that we came up all months and months ago and yesterday.
Yeah. Also, just everyone should keep in mind, our hope is whether you see these things before the end of this campaign or for this product, our hope that Dead Men Tales is just the beginning. I'd love to see where this goes in the future too. And so far, the campaign has been a great success for us. We're really appreciative of everything and all the support we've gotten. And I'm just hoping, because I love this particular Zombicide a lot, to see more in the future. So we'll have room to grow, hopefully.
That's what I have for today.
Thank you very much, Helena.
Thanks,
you, guys.
Elena.
See you.
All right. With that said, we will be over in the comments on the campaign page answering whatever questions you have that we didn't answer here. But what Helene had mentioned, we are just outside of 2 days left. As of tonight, at some point, we'll be at the 48-hour mark. There's a lot going on over the campaign page that is worth checking out. We're going to be unlocking a few more things. And I'm going to do my own tease here, Tiago. I don't know if it could live up to your teases, but in particular, I would come over to the campaign page. Well, first of all, you should live over the campaign page like we all do. But come over there Wednesday morning, because I think we'll have a new and interesting treasure hunt for all of you to participate in that we'll be announcing that could hold a little bit more treasure.
Yeah, we still have a lot in store. I'd just like to say it's been very exciting to be running this crowdfunding campaign, being there every day with all the backers, seeing the feedback, seeing the enthusiasm. We know criticism, it's fair. It helps us make the product better, and hopefully make things even better on next campaigns that we do. So as long as things are kept civil, we welcome all kinds of feedback. And yeah, it's just being really nice to be here with you, bringing this game to life. So thank you.
Yeah, the community has been fantastic. I've not ever been as immersed in this community as I have been during this campaign, and the positivity has been overwhelming. And like Tiago said, criticism is welcome. It is how we get better. But it has been really fantastic. And I can tell you this, my algorithm is just nothing but Zombicide now in all of my social media, because I've been following a lot of what you've all been doing on Facebook and elsewhere, posting about what we've been saying and posting about it and talking about yourself, which has been amazing. Like, I feel like I've been following the campaign as much that way as I have been on the campaign page itself. So thank you for that very much. Rebecca, do you have anything to share before we leave?
Well, not really, except to look forward to the last 2 days of the campaign and maybe see what else we have on Wednesday.
Yes. Hopefully that's been teased enough. But until then, make sure you don't get splashed by any whales, and we'll see you over at the campaign. Bye-bye.
Cheers.